Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome. If you're a first timer, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. Please do well to subscribe. On this video, I'll be showing us how to install a zipper properly and professionally. This is actually a course from a beginner's class, but I thought to share this particular clip on how to install a zipper. Let's dive right into this video. So guys, we're about to fix our zipper. So remember we had kept about 1.5 inches allowance for zipper. You can actually keep 1 inches, 1.5 or 2 inches depending, but whatever you take, whatever you kept as your zipper allowance, make sure you're taking it right back, okay, when you want to put your zipper. So this is the back of our blouse, and we're just going to be marking out that lines, okay, before we put our zipper. So that's what I want to show you. Also note that we have different kind of zipper. So for a start, you can just go with this basic zipper. We have the long and the short. It comes in different colors. So this is like a trouser zip or a skirt zip. That's why it is short. However, this is what I'll be using for this blouse. You can actually use the long one, but if you're using the long one, note that the extra should be above, so that you'll be able to cut out the remaining. So you're not cutting your zipper here. You're just going to place it. Make sure that the end tallies with the end here, and then whatever you have left over should be at the top, and then you can trim it out. I'm going to be showing you that in subsequent courses where we need zipper, to see how we'll be fixing the long zipper. But for this one, I'll be using the short zipper. Okay, so since I'll be using the short zipper, the zipper will have to start from here and stop here. So what I'll do is, from where the zipper is going to stop, I'm going to be coming out by about 0.5 inches or 1 inches, as the case may be, and then mark it. So I know that my zipper at this point is just, it's not supposed to, your stitch is not supposed to start exactly here. So your stitch is supposed to start somewhere above the end point of the zipper, because we are going to be stitching here down. This part where the zipper is not going to hold, we are going to be stitching it down. So it's not right that your stitch starts immediately where the zipper stops. Okay, so that's why I've gone up by above 1 inches. So I place this as my startup point, and then wherever the zip ended, I just marked it. So this is where the zip ended, and I'll be, let me retake this, marking it here. So my stitch is going to start here. So like I said, remember we kept about 1.5 inches allowance for our zipper allowance, so we want to take that back. So on this part, I've already stitched in 0.5 inches when I was turning the facing. So it means what I'm taking here now, it has been subtracted already. So we're not completely taking 1.5 inches. So I'll be taking 1 inches on this part. So I'll just be marking out, that straight line we drew is actually at the back. If you can see, if you can notice, the line is here. Okay, it's still showing, but I'll be, because of how we want to place the zip, because of the placement of the zip, we'll have to start from the front. So that's why I'm marking on the right side. So I'll be taking my 1 inches. Okay, 1 inches. So on this part now that is not turned with a facing, I'll be taking my 1.5 inches, because I still have my complete measurement here. So when I do that, so I'll mark that, and when I do that, I will draw a straight line. So I'll just be connecting this point. I just want to have a straight line. So this is what we have, and this is how we'll be placing our zipper. So I'm going to take this now to my machine, mark out this point. So because I'll be sewing on the wrong side, I want to note where I have marked. That is where my stitch will start. What I want to do now is take it to the machine and sew from this part straight up, so that we'll have here left open for our zipper. Okay, and of course, we are not sewing on the right side, we are sewing on the wrong side. So I'll just hold it, pin it like this, and just mark out. Or better still, you could do this at the back, just that the line at the right side of the fabric will help you when you want to stitch the zip. So after doing the other part, you can still come to this part and redo it. So I'm placing my zipper, and I'll mark few inches before the end of the zip. So you can still go back to take that measurement, or better still, I have my lines. I don't know if you can see it. I have my lines already marked out when I was drafting. I can see it, so I can use this as a guide. So when I want to put my zipper, I will now use this other line as a guide as well. So let's get into our sewing machine. So this is what I'll be stitching, or this is how I will be stitching. From this point I'll be having a straight stitch. So let me draw this out like so. So this is how I'll be stitching on it. So let's get to the sewing machine so that I'll show you how to stitch this down. So I have it arranged already. So what I'm going to do is to stitch from here down to the end. We're going to make this stitch very thick here to, tighten the stitch here, because there's going to be a little bit pressure where our zipper ends. So we don't want it losing up when we put our zipper. So we're going to, double stitch the starting point. Just what you do when you want to start sewing. Okay, but this one you just reinforce it. So we're just going to stitch on it. Okay, so I've reinforced it, so I'll now sew on a straight line to the end. Also, when you are sewing, take note of your neckline. Arrange it so that your neckline is going to be equal, because if you don't pay attention and you stitch this to the end, you realize that one neckline is longer than another neckline. So make sure it is equal here, and you've done your necessary arrangement before you start stitching to the end. So I'm just going to stitch on a straight line. So can you see that we've stitched on it? So the next thing we want to do now is to put our zipper on this remaining part that is open. Okay, so you're going to use this line as a guide. Okay, the line you've drawn, you're going to use it as a guide. So what I'm going to do now is to put my zipper. I'm going to face it. This is the right side. So let the teeth of the zipper face inside, and let the back of the zipper face you right here. So I'm just going to open this a little bit so that this iron is going to land on my the edge of my neckline. But if you are using a long zipper, let me show you. In case you're using a long zipper, okay, you're going to place it like this. Okay, you're going to place it like this, and then the remaining part that is long, when you're done stitching it, what you're going to do is just to unzip it. Okay, and then cut from here. Use your scissors to cut it. Make sure that your zip is down, otherwise if your zip is up and you cut it, you've spoiled that zip because you've thrown away the zip. So if you want to cut it, make sure that it is unzipped like this. After you're done stitching, then you can cut out. Okay, but we already have a short zipper, so since this is a short zip, I'm not cutting anything. This is my end point, so I want to make sure that the end point is on the neckline. That is this wedge for the zip, where the zipper ends. So I can just put it right here on the neckline. And then please, as a beginner, if you're going to find it very difficult to sew a zip, there are no two ways about it. As a beginner, you're going to find it difficult fixing zip, so you have to be very patient with yourself. We all were at that point in our lives where we had to struggle with putting zipper, so you have to be patient. So you can see how I'm doing it. I'm going to place it like this. So you're going to sew on this line. When your zipper is when your stitch is holding your zipper, make sure it's landing on this line. Make sure it's landing on this line. Okay, but don't worry, as a beginner, even if it doesn't land on the line, you can just keep trying, and like that. Secondly, you want to make sure that your zipper, the thread is holding it close to the teeth here and not here, because that's one of the issue you're going to have. You may not be able to place your zipper on the teeth of this sewing machine properly. Your hands may be shaking, so your stitches may be zigzag, may not be straight, but that's okay. But the right thing to place to have your stitch is close to the teeth of your zipper and not at the end. Okay, because you don't want your zipper, after you've held it at the end, when you turn it, the whole body of the zipper is showing. When you hold it here, and you turn it, the whole body, you don't want the whole body of the zipper showing. You just want only the teeth of the zipper to be visible. So that's why you should hold the body here, so that when you turn it to this side, it's only the teeth we are going to be seeing. If you hold it here, when you turn it, we'll still be seeing the body of the zipper. I hope you understand. So we're just going to place it like so, and then secure it with this your foot, your needle foot, your machine foot, and then you're going to start sewing on that straight line. So secure the beginning part as well with some stitches, and after you secure it, you can now start sewing. So make sure that it's landing on that straight line. So as a beginner, trust me, your own may be shifting, but because I've already gained mastery in this, that's why I can hold it and I'll be sewing straight. Can you see how I'm using my two hands to secure it? One, I'm using it to manage the zip here, and secondly, I'm using my second hand to, wedge it here. Okay, so these are all techniques. So when I've sewn half like this, I'm going to raise my needle, raise my footer, and zip it back. If I don't do that, the head of this zipper will hit the needle and it will break, and we don't want that. So that's why I've pushed it back now that I've sewn here. So we'll now bring the footer down and continue sewing on a straight line. Okay, make sure that your zipper is not entering this side. If not, you'll not be able to loosen your zip. You realize that you've sewn your zip, you've used thread to close it, so you're just sewing on one part of the zipper. Okay, when you get to almost the end where your stitch stop, that this your stitch you started, when you get to this point, make sure that you push the zipper to stay on that line. Otherwise, when you turn it, there's how that place will look rumple. Don't worry if you make mistake for the first time. You're just going to keep trying until you get it right. Okay, but this is the right thing to do. When you get to this point, you do as if you want this stitch to still meet here. Okay, you sew as if this stitch you're making on the zipper, you want it to clash here, but it's not going to clash, but you want it as close as possible. All right, so we're going to do that now. So when I'm sure I've gotten to that point, I will also you can see how I'm trying to secure that place with double stitch. I will lift it up, I'll arrange my zipper now, because if you don't do this arrangement, you end up closing your zipper, and then I would finally finish the remaining part of the zipper so that it's not just flying and hanging. So when you get to the end, you can now secure it. Okay, so you're going to do on the other part too. Okay, so you can see what we have. Can you see how close the zipper is to the fabric? Can you see how close? Meanwhile, if you don't do it right, you'll be seeing the body of the zipper, all this clothes holding the zipper, which is not supposed to be so. The only thing you're supposed to be seeing is this line, the teeth. All right, so sew one side, so we're going to sew the second side. So you're going to flip it like this, because you're going to sew from bottom to top. It's better you're sewing and everything is falling this way than you're sewing and it's falling this way. Okay, so now this one is the easiest because your zipper is already lying down, your zipper is already lying flat, so you can just sew a straight stitch and it will align. But you don't do that because we want it flat at this end, so you're still going to make effort to push it this end where our opening is. You want it to lay flat there, so you're just going to push the zip, like push it a little, let it look as if you both are fighting. Push it a little, and then start stitching. When you pass that place, you can now release it. That way it's only your teeth, the teeth of the zipper you're going to be seeing. So I'll secure it and then I'll push it, try and sew as close as possible, and then when I'm sure that I have done that, I can now continue sewing. Also, when you're sewing, ensure that the distance from here to this point is the same as the distance from here to this point, so you can just use your eye to gauge it. Look at how the zip is sitting. So look at how the zip is sitting on the left hand side. That is how it should look equal when you look at it on the right hand side. Do you understand? So that's what we are going to do. So if you're not sure of how to do this, you can use your tape and your marker, your tape and your chalk to mark it out. So just as you had marked from here to here, we have about 1 inches. You can now come here too and do your mark your 1 inches, mark it like that, 1 inches, like that. You just mark like that, and when you're done you draw a straight line, and when you're done you sew and use that straight line as a guide. So I don't need to do that because with my eyes I can see if I'm doing the right thing or not. Okay, so I will just sew it, but as a starter you can actually do that. So I'll just go ahead now to sew. So when I get to this point, remember the head, we don't want the head clashing with our needle. I will lift up my foot and unzip it again. Okay, and then finish up my zipper, close it back and finish up my zipper. So make sure that your needle is not climbing on the teeth of the zipper, else you'll not be able to unzip it. You should just be on this part holding the teeth. When I get to the end, I will just secure and then I will cut. So let's turn it to the front to see what we have. So can you see what we have? Can you see what we have? Can you see how this place is laying very flat? So that's all those pushing I was doing. This is the result. If you don't push it well, you notice that when you're done sewing, one may do like this, one may be like this, another one may just push up. It may not look flat, but you can see how seamless it just, how the bodies just flow into the zip very smoothly. So trust me, as a beginner you won't get this at first. Okay, I even struggled too as a beginner when I started sewing, and as you continue practicing you would understand how to do this better. Okay, so let's finish up our zipper. Check to see if your neckline are on the same line. If it's not on the same line, lose it and retake it again. So to finish up your zipper, we're going to open this back after we are sure that the neckline aligns. Okay, and then there used to be a way, people get to fix their zipper that is not the right way. I get to see and I get to correct people as much as possible. Okay, on no account should you fix your zipper and when you try to finish up we are seeing a stitch holding it down. That is very wrong. Okay, your stitch is supposed to be seamless, that way you have that neat finishing. So I'm going to show you how to do that to finish your zipper. So here we're going to unzip it, open it like so, and then you're going to bend it over like this. Okay, when you bend it over like this, you are now going to stitch on it. Okay, so you're going to stitch on it. To be on the safer side, you can just turn it so that you're going to see the stitch and then close it. You know, run a stitch to hold it down. So you don't ever have to tack your zip. People get to tack their zip, it doesn't look neat. So this is just the best way. Just arrange it and let it be tight on the neckline. Let it not push out, let it not sag out. So just do multiple stitch to hold it down. So this is it. So this is it. You don't have to still bend it again and tack it. It's a wrong way to sew zip. You don't have to do that. This is enough to hold it down. So we're going to do the same for this part. Spread it out like so and bend it. Flip it to where you can see and stitch. So this is it. And this is how your finishing should look, as clean as this. Can you see how clean it is? Can you see how clean it is? There is no tack, there is no visible thread showing here. So this is how to fix your zipper. This way it leaves your work very clean at the back. These installation methods can work for any outfit. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.